Absolutely.
Hey, welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. This is your host, Justin Stoddart, where my mission is to help grow you so that your business can grow, your life can grow, and so can your impact. I'm excited today to talk about a topic that is essential for any good business, and it has to do with the customer experience. Doesn't matter how sophisticated we get at getting new business. If there's a hole in our bucket at the end of the day, we've got a problem, and we're not going to be a sustainable long-term business. And I have with me today somebody who is very well known in many circles, travels around the country as a trainer and instructor teaching real estate agents how to have better businesses. His name is Zach Younger. Zach, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's looking forward to our conversation.
Yes. It's a pleasure having people like yourself on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Little background on Zach for those that don't know him. He's been an agent for 8 years. He's out of Sacramento, and he was so good at what he did, and also in teaching it to other people that he was hired by KW University to now travel all around the country to teach agents on some key things. So again, we're fortunate to borrow your expertise here today, Zach. Let's talk about this topic. Again, I think, there is so much emphasis in this industry on getting new clients. And I feel like there's not enough emphasis on how to create such a great experience that the people we've served in the past are no longer past clients, they're current clients, right? They're clients for life. And in fact, somebody corrected me the other day. They said, don't say past clients, because if you want to always be getting more, then yeah, you've got past clients. But what about all the people that you served? Don't you expect them to be future clients as well? So kind of on that premise, let's jump in. Now, let me share this. Everyone that's listening to this is going to love this. Zach, will you tell us where you're broadcasting from today?
Yeah, I'm out in the middle of the Caribbean right now on a cruise ship. So I'm somewhere near the Bahamas.
Now prove it to us. Show me your wrists. Look at that. That looks to me like a Royal Caribbean wristband.
Yes, sir.
That we're actually going to tie that in here. But I just want everybody to know that Zach, his passion is so strong that he is broadcasting from the middle of the Caribbean Ocean. And we thank you for taking the time to do this. And let's make it worth Zach's time here, and be sure and share this out when we're all done. Get this out to a lot of people. So let's talk about this. The customer and client experience, I would say, especially in real estate or including real estate, has changed. Talk to us about that, Zach. What are you seeing the differences are now between maybe what customer and client experience used to look like in the past?
Yeah. Well, first we have to understand what customer experience is. And customer experience is all about how the consumer feels. A customer experience is that wow moment where a company or a person just makes somebody feel special, makes them feel like they care. And customer service is just delivering products or delivering a service. And what we know is that today consumers have come to expect an experience. We expect an experience because we're so used to having technology in our lives, having companies that utilize technology to deliver that exceptional experience. As opposed to customer service, you remember back, oh gosh, just 10 years ago, when all the companies, all the corporations have changed over all their customer service to automated, like 1-800 lines, to where you'd call in and they'd listen to your voice and then they'd predict what you had going on. And everybody hated it.
Yeah.
They hated it. It wasn't a good experience. They wanted to talk to a person. And customer service levels dropped so low that businesses finally, they felt it, and they said, okay, something's got to change, and they reintroduced the human touch back into customer service to provide an actual experience. And so it's just the people today, we want to have our emotions touched. We want literally people to communicate with us the way we want to be communicated with, instead of the way they want to communicate with us. And so it's a paradigm shift. And in real estate specifically, we're seeing technology being used as a crutch to kind of hide behind technology, to send emails to everybody in your database just to give you a reason not to call people. And that just isn't working. And so we're seeing technologies coming out now that are actually curating an experience for the consumer, to where the agent can reach out to just the right person at just the right time. And so it's really exciting.
That's really it is a paradigm shift. And I think it's interesting watching big business because, of course, they pay very close attention to the numbers. And I think a real estate agent would be wise, as you're leading us to do, to take a look at the trends that big business has done. Is that obviously when they're public companies, they're going to look for profitability and for investor return, right? Shareholder return. And they reduce their customer experience to be like very much robots, automated. And if that actually helped them grow their bottom line, they would have continued to do it. But we're seeing now that they're pulling back from that and they're putting more humans out in front touching the client, which tells us that regardless of how much money they may have saved, the money that they were spending to go acquire new customers, because the past ones were upset, like the numbers didn't work, right? So us following that trend within the real estate industry, I think is super wise to take a look at. And I agree with you. It's interesting. I used to joke at this concept of drip campaigns. Like I'd ask, like, tell me about how you're contacting your clients. Like, what does that look like? Well, I have them on a drip campaign. I'm like, I've never felt overly excited about being dripped on. Typically when I'm being dripped on, it means like my roof is leaking and I've got to fix it. And it's like, I know like that sounds super hip and like you got your business together, got my drip campaigns out. But how do your customers feel being on the other end of a drip campaign? And of course, we don't announce it to them like that. But I think this impersonal, all technology contact doesn't work anymore. And I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, and I want to circle back to one of the ways you opened up our conversation here, and that is that we're in the lead generation business, and that ultimately as realtors, as sales professionals, as professionals, our job is to go find business, prospect, go find business, go talk to people. And I would argue that we're really in the lead generation business. We don't have a problem with lead generation. We have a problem with lead follow-up and contact follow-up and those personalized touches. If any single person that's watching this video were to go to their cell phone and look at how many contacts they have in their cell phone, I would argue they don't have a problem with the number of contacts. They have a problem with the relationship with all of those contacts. Wow. And so if we just focus on building stronger relationships with the people already in our lives, we're going to have more business than we even know what to do with.
Man, you're speaking my language, brother. Let's talk a little bit about that wristband on your wrist, because I think there's some power in what Royal Caribbean has done here. What is that? It looks like a watch, like a Swatch watch. I just dated myself there tonight. What is that thing?
So it's basically just a little microchip inside of this watch that you have the option to purchase. It was a really small $5 purchase for me, the consumer. And what this allows is Royal Caribbean to very quickly, very easily track who I am, where I am. They're not tracking where I go. It's not GPS locations as far as I know. However, any room I walk into, if I slide this, if I scan this, they know I'm in the room, which allows them to give me a curated experience. If they know who I am, they know what I like, they know where I'm from, they know the type of food I like or can't eat, they can deliver a better experience to me. And it's amazing. It was $5. I even paid for it, and it allowed them to deliver a better experience to me. Now, the flip side of that is, if it wasn't for the employees, to the staff members at Royal Caribbean, this wouldn't provide any more of an experience. It would just be a cool looking piece of jewelry. But because there's amazing staff members on the other end of every single transaction or every single time I interact with the staff, that's what actually delivers the experience, not the technology. It actually just enhances it. Now, the really interesting part is there are some staff members that don't embrace this. And I think we're probably going to see those staff members phase out of this company. But let me give you an example really quickly. There's several staff members, servers, that they'll ask you to take off your wristband so that they can take it over and scan it, when they could actually go grab the scanner and bring it to me. And making me go through the hassle of taking off my wristband to keep them from bringing the scanner to me actually lessens my experience. And so that's an example of a human not embracing technology and ultimately making my experience not as amazing. However, the other ones, they go out of their way to make sure that you keep your band on, and they just do everything. That's where the human touch, the wow factor, comes in.
Wow. There's so many lessons in here, Zach. Like, I just want to unpack this. I know we have limited time. So I'm going to let everybody know here before we get too deep into this, that if this is really an interesting topic to you, Zach's actually going to be coming to the Portland area. What's the date again, Zach?
That's going to be Friday, April 26th.
Okay.
And we're going to be at the Embassy Suites at the Portland Airport.
Okay. So if you have any interest in learning about this topic, and if you don't quite listen all the way to the end, know that in fact, I'll put in the links some ways to register. I don't even know exactly what that looks like yet, but we'll be sure that you know how to get a hold of Zach. I heard he's coming to town. I was like, I got to meet this guy. I want to hear what content he has to share. And I'm actually blown away by this analogy and the value that you're bringing, Zach. So let's unpack that a little bit. Is that, and maybe how this compares to real estate. Again, going back to this concept of what real estate agents might have done in the past that may have worked, which is set up total automation. But we realized people didn't want that, right? And exactly what Royal Caribbean didn't do, they didn't start eliminating all of their staff, and instead, like, this bracelet is a replacement for them. Instead, this bracelet empowers, right, these Royal Caribbean service personnel to give you a better experience. Boy, there's so many comparisons to real estate, aren't there, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest one is as real estate agents or people who work in real estate, we always look for that magic bullet or that one piece of technology that is just going to automate our business, the right CRM, right? Customer relationship manager, to actually do that full business automation. And what I would argue is that we should be looking for a piece of technology to enhance the consumer experience, to make you get in front of your customers and have more impactful conversations every time, as opposed to hiding behind that technology.
Wow. So artificial intelligence, I was once concerned, I actually shared this in an interview just this past week with Chris Suarez, where I said I used to be really concerned about artificial intelligence replacing humans, right? Like that it was really a threat to the real estate industry, until I think the real estate industry wisened up and or pivoted, right, to where they realized, like, artificial intelligence is not our worst enemy. It's actually our best friend. Because like you said, Zach, that when properly utilized, that's the data that allows us to be face-to-face with people more often, right? And that's the data that we need to actually be to offer a better customer experience, a more personalized experience, a more customized experience. And I think that there's tons of lessons in there with that. And again, not to overlook the one where some people are resisting it, saying, not for me. I'm not doing the whole tech thing. My clients love me. They love to see me regularly. Yes. But what if when you saw them, you could deliver them a customized experience on, what their property is worth at a moment's notice, and so many other like valuable data points about their neighborhood, about their community, about stuff that really matters to them in an instant, to where you're now offering a really unique client experience as opposed to a one-size-fits-all client experience.
Yep, you nailed it. And to circle back on that a little bit, I don't believe AI is going to replace humans. Mm-hmm. AI is going to replace humans that refuse to use it. Humans that embrace AI, artificial intelligence, this technology with data that can basically predict behaviors. The humans, us, that are willing to embrace that technology, we're just going to basically do 90% of all of the work out there. And the humans, the people, us, that are refusing to embrace that artificial intelligence, they're the ones that are just going to fall so far behind. It's going to be nearly impossible to ever catch up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a bit of an arms race right now to see who can get access to the best data and the agents that are most likely to embrace that. And it's a really interesting space to be in. It's one that I'm excited to be a part of. I'm excited to be a part of this industry, and hopefully by exposing this audience to people like you, help them see that there's a really bright future if you can go about this the right way.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Zach, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking some time out of the Caribbean to come be here. Hopefully it's been fun for you. I know it's been a blast for us, and I'm super appreciative of what you've added. I'm looking forward to meeting you on the 26th. And again, we'll try, and for those that are listening, check in the show notes through the Facebook live broadcast. I'll put some details on how to find where Zach's going to be to get more insight on this and how to enhance your client experience. And I'm assuming, Zach, that we're not just going to be talking about the tech component, but just the client experience in general.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keller Williams University worked with a lot of top agents all across the country to find out what they were doing to deliver exceptional experience.
Mhm.
And technology is a small part of that. They're embracing technology. However, the customer experience usually comes in the shape or form of some type of systematized behavior that they're activating in their business. And so we're going to share with everyone who comes to the event these models and systems that top agents are using, so they can literally just do what other agents are doing to deliver great customer experience. And so
Awesome.
everybody at the class will literally walk away with a playbook to deliver better customer experience.
Very cool. Tons of value, man. I want to thank you again. I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode of the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Zach, you've delivered in a big way, and I look forward to meeting you soon. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, and you put that wristband to good use, would you?
Thank you, sir. I'd make that
Take care.
happen. Cheers.